Welcome to the Casual Adventure Notes podcast, the CAN podcast, lazy, easy listening about little life's adventures.
And lessons.
I'm Doz.
And I'm Devy. Move over, Louie.
Let's kick things off with a palate cleanser. What do we have today?
Back to psychology. 101 things I learned in psychology school.
Let's go with number 19 today.
All right. 19. Title. An extreme case illuminates the ordinary. In 1848, construction worker Phineas Gage was directing a crew as it blasted rock from a railroad bed. An explosion propelled a 13-pound iron rod, 1 1/4 in diameter and 3 to 7 inches long, into Gage's face. The rod passed upwards behind his left eye, traveling through his brain, exited the top of his skull, and landed 80 feet away. Gage survived the ordeal with no damage to his intelligence, memory, or basic functions such as eating, breathing, and maintaining body temperature. However, it was reported the previously well-mannered, conscientious Gage became crude and moody. While subject to some dispute today, the reports that some aspects of Gage changed dramatically while others remained unchanged helped us consider that the brain has areas of specialized function. Previously, it was thought that the brain was a generalized blob, and the damage to one part would result in a decline in most to all aspects of behavior and function.
I think I actually know that. I studied vaguely. I did like fundamental psychology in high school, and I think that was one of the things that we learned. So to clarify, this guy suffered an extreme injury where a pole literally went through his brain, and they noticed that it didn't actually impact him as dramatically as suspected back in the days.
So what it was saying, yes, that's partly what it was saying, is that I think back then everyone just thought the brain was just one, I guess it is. Is it? It's not an organ. I guess, what do you call it? It's like a...
Yeah, people used to think it was just one collective
blob. What's it? A blob. And that no matter what I think they didn't really grasp the concept that each part of your brain, like there's a compartment for like memory, for controlling the body, for emotions. And so by taking out a certain compartment, it takes out that function versus, like a mixed, I guess it's like, how do I best describe this? It's like having it's like a cake. You can put stuff in compartments, like a cake, ingredients to a cake, and you have them all separately. That's how brain works. You've got your eggs and your milk and your flour. Then once you put it all, but then everyone had assumed that your brain was like when you mix them all together into a bowl. But it was sort of the pre-sort of mix stage.
I get the metaphor. It's not a bad metaphor. It does kind of make sense when you said it.
My sort of surprise is you even survived. Like, I feel like a metal rod went through your head and your brain. Like, you should be dead, really.
I think you got lucky. Because you'd think that like at least blood loss would get to it. But I assume because it's like a pole, if you keep the pole in there, it would prevent the blood loss before
the
he got
pole
help.
went straight through.
Oh,
Yeah.
What happened? Oh, anyway, I wasn't there. I wasn't present. Oh, yeah, that is surprising that he survived on so many levels then.
Yeah. Anyway, that's probably more the miraculous thing that he survived. But I guess, back then there was like, not only did he survive, but he is mostly the same person, except the fact that he went from being very polite to crude.
Yeah, which is interesting, right?
So it must have meant that the compartment that got destroyed in the by the rod was just related to maybe like, etiquette, politeness. I didn't realize there was
And I
even a
wonder what
compartment about that.
I was
Compartment in
going to
your
say
brain
the
for
same
that.
thing. Is that not something that's learnt? I wonder which part of biology that is that makes a person more likely to be polite versus not.
Maybe we all have it when we're born. It just doesn't get activated until we learn it. So it's always within your brain. But then you need to sort of open it and unleash it for it to work. But I also heard that you don't really even use like most of your brain.
I heard that too.
You lose like, was it 10, 20% or something?
Mm.
And then I think there's been like that movie where there was like some whole plot around you taking a pill and then it makes you use 100% of your brain. You become like this super genius that can learn stuff super quick and quickly solve problems and formulas. What was that movie called? Limitless. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. I was going to say, it reminds me of, I think more people are aware of this now. I'm not sure of the exact function, but they say like the frontal lobe of your brain, which is a lot related to traits that would be associated to maturity. Like there's a lot of common knowledge now to suggest that like that doesn't develop until adulthood, late 20s, early 30s, depending on the person. And there's all these memes online, which I really like, where it's like people make jokes where it happens overnight, like it just activates very suddenly, and it just like shifts people from becoming quite selfish, feeling invincible, to being like considerate of others, forward planning. Like I saw a TikTok which I thought was really funny, where it was basically like, before frontal lobe developed, he's like, I'm just going to mess around. I'm not serious in my relationship. I don't need to turn up for work tomorrow. I'll just wing it. And then he like suddenly like faints, and then he wakes up again, and he's like, and then it like has caption that says frontal lobe has fully developed. And then he goes, I got to marry that girl. Like, she's the one. She's so good to me. I need to really like show her how much she's worth. Oh gosh, I shouldn't go out tonight. I have work early tomorrow. I got to show up, do well to like continue my career. I just thought it was really funny because I feel like that is a thing. Like, I think maturity is a shift, and I don't know if it's always learnt. And maybe that is part of the brain that guy experienced to make him more crude. Maybe it's the part where he is less considerate or aware of others. Therefore, he default is just very selfish and self-centered, and therefore thinks the world revolves around him.
I wonder what part of the brain, I mean, I guess it affects probably everything, but like alcohol. Because alcohol, a lot of people, when they drink, they become a bit more reckless. And that's why people call it liquid courage, because, you start doing things that, you wouldn't do in your normal sober state. It might be like from dancing to asking a girl or guy out, or probably sometimes doing stupid things as well.
Yeah.
So, although I think that just affects the whole brain, 'cause next morning your whole head feels like crap.
Yeah. I don't know, actually. Yeah, it's something, but I don't know what. Something to do with shame, I assume. Whatever the biology is that makes you feel shame. Main course today, I actually have a question for you. Do you like superheroes? Do you follow like superhero movies or watch them growing up, like them growing up?
Yeah, I did.
Was there any that you particularly liked or gravitated towards?
I think as a kid, I liked the Power Rangers. I remember being like obsessed with the Power Rangers as a kid. And then as I grew up, I liked sort of like Spider-Man. Like, I think when the Spider-Man movie started being made, became a big fan of Spider-Man and X-Men as well. I think I liked the idea of X-Men more, because it was like, I guess Spider-Man technically started as a human and stuff, but I like the idea of like humans then sort of, realizing they have powers and then, trying to sort of adapt to the normal society and stuff like that. Yes, I think Spider-Man's probably like I'm not really into superheroes. But yeah, Spider-Man's probably top of the list. And then I had more general other heroes that weren't of a super variety.
Like who?
What's he? More I guess I wouldn't call them even his heroes are right. It's just more admire.
Yeah, who did you admire? Who did you watch or follow growing up that you kind of wanted to be when you grew up or wanted to be like them? Was Spider-Man one?
No, I just liked
the story.
Well, I just liked the story because I think it was this whole premises around this nerdy kid, and then obviously getting bitten by this spider and then becoming a superhero. Sort of like that concept, but and then I think I've and that kind of premises follows a lot of animes as well. For example, the lead in Parasite, but how his arm is its own sort of being, and he can sort of shapeshift it into a weapon and stuff like that. The other controversial hero is for me is Light from Death Note. So that's sort of because they're not really. I guess there's some supernatural elements, but they're not your quintessential superheroes from your Marvel, your DC sort of style, universe. Yeah.
And what was could you think of an example of the other one that you said were kind of a hero you admired but didn't, that isn't super necessarily?
I wouldn't even call them a hero. I just idolized, watching Hey Arnold. I actually really liked the main character Arnold and the idea of how he was this kid and had his own little essentially apartment, and it was this cool apartment on the top floor of his apartment building, and he was this very cool, put together kid who was very considerate, and he wasn't the strongest. He was intelligent, but he was just someone that was a cool I wouldn't say role model, but
what?
Someone that I was oh, I would like to be like him, even though he was a cartoon with a football-shaped head.
Quietly cool. I remember the cartoon well.
Yeah, so it's not even really a hero. It's more of an idol.
Yeah.
But heroes is like I said. Assuming hero, a superhero, obviously there's a supernatural element to it. The other ones I listed were probably more in that space.
It's just what I thought of first, but the Hey Arnold comments, someone you idolize or admire or kind of reference as inspo of how you would like to be is kind of why I brought it up. I want to unpack something in this podcast. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to, but I want to start it. So, a bit of context. Growing up, I liked Twilight, the book series, which is about vampires. But prior to that, I actually liked a lot of things like superheroes and a lot of cartoons with some kind of character that would save the world or always save others. That was very attractive. And I'll circle back to that. But basically what triggered this main course today was, so I like Twilight and I was obsessed with that vampire series, ate up that series probably in 3 days. When the movie came out, very questionable, but as a fan, I still watched them all, right? But it's been decades and I was like, oh my God, I haven't read or watched anything about vampires since reading the Twilight series, watching the movies. And then the only other series I picked up that I enjoyed was the Vampire Diaries, which is a TV series that was quite good as well. And I was trying to figure out what I liked about them, because the problem right now is I picked up other books and series with vampires as kind of the main supernatural species in it, and I'm not enjoying it, and I can't figure out why. So I was trying to think about like maybe I never liked vampires. So then I started trying to like go back and be like, so what did I like about Twilight? What did I like about Vampire Diaries? And then instead of prioritizing that thought, which I might be able to get through today, who knows, I started thinking about like all the other characters and kind of like superheroes I liked growing up and I wanted to be and what they had in common. So some of mine, everyone already knows my obsession with Digimon growing up and how much I wanted to be Kairi. Like that's a given. And she always represented like good and light, and she kind of had like this like group of people that she wanted to protect, but they always wanted to protect her as well. So that's like a key one for me. But the other characters that I really kind of like wanted to be were my favorite characters growing up when I watched. In Sailor Moon, I was obsessed with Sailor Mars and Sailor Venus. Both partly superficially because I like characters with long hair. Like when I was younger, I really wanted long, pretty hair. And two, because of their characters. There's something about those two characters. Their thing is like they're quite mean or feisty up front, but then they end up being really reliable and genuine, and they like show up when it matters. So I kind of like that. And then the other big one that I was a little bit obsessed with, there was a series called Card Captors with a main character named Sakura, who she was just like this chosen girl that had magical power, and she had like these magical cards that were like drawn to her, and she was competing with this other guy that also has like a similar thing where they were like racing to collect the cards and stuff like that. And then each card had special abilities that they could activate with a wand. So like one would be like giving them wings. Another one would be able to like duplicate them. So there's like a mirror one to like duplicate them in a battle and stuff like that. I was really obsessed with her as well. Can't really figure out why. I think aesthetically that was just really pretty. And then the other major one, which is really random, is like I had this weird obsession with Batman because I think Batman and Robin. I think like what made him different was the fact that he could be perceived as a villain, but he's actually a good guy. Vigilante,
yeah.
Vigilante. And that was really attractive to me.
I like the concept of Batman because he technically is just a everyday bloke, person, guy, whatever, and he just obviously has access to a lot of wealth and invests that for whatever helps him become, the vigilante he is at night. Yeah, because he doesn't have any supernatural powers, does he?
No, he is just really intelligent, has a lot of money. So then he develops all these like
technologies.
Yep.
It was Wayne Industries or something that.
Yeah,
that's right.
Bruce Wayne. My favorite. So I reckon if I was able to access comic books more easily when I was younger, I think I would actually be more into this DC universe than I actually am today. Sorry. It was hard to get hands-on comic books back in the day, like ebooks and stuff like that, and buying stuff online wasn't the norm growing up for me. So it's accessible now, but I don't really have the time or the same level of interest to get into it. But I remember I was obsessed because I would try to access as much as I can. And it got to a point where my favorite party story was telling everyone how there's actually 5 Robins. Like, I don't know why, but that was like my full obsession. I think Robin was my little crush, to be honest. And I don't really know what about him as a character about it. I also think it's because he's a bit smart ass, but like as a facade, like despite him being 5 different people along the way, they're all kind of like similar traits where they're a little bit smart ass up front, but then at the end of the day, they're good and they show up for people. And I think that's what I gravitate towards. I gravitate towards like characters who kind of like a little bit mean up front, really sarcastic. Like you wouldn't think straight away that they're a trustworthy or reliable person, but then they always are, almost the most. And I don't really know where that comes from. So then I was thinking about it. Maybe that's like what I've been trying to look for in the vampires. and I can't find it because vampires are written in very different ways. And I think in Twilight and Vampire Diaries, the vampires in there, like they're perceived bad first, but they're actually good for the right people. But then I think the books I'm reading at the moment, it's like not exactly like that. So I'm just like, cool, you're just like scary guys who like drink blood. Cool.
Twilight and Vampire Diaries are very teen sort of, it's obviously there's love interest and obviously there's a bit of like what sexual like narrative in there. Like I've watched only a couple of episodes of Vampire Diaries and there's some level of that in the storyline, the plot. Because is it about? Because I know there's two brothers, that are vampires, and there's the main girl. Like, are those two brothers like both in love with the girl?
I only watched a couple of seasons and I dropped it, and it was so long ago that I don't really remember. I think the last thing I remembered, like, she only ended up with one of.
Yeah, but were they both sort of in some ways like competing for her?
Maybe.
Okay, all right.
I don't really
there's
remember.
Some like element of like the whole idea of like two brothers competing for a girl.
Gross.
Maybe that's I know you say it gross, but that was appealing to you.
Maybe that was the part of this plot line. I don't remember.
And then Twilight's the same thing, isn't it? It's that Jacob guy
they're not brothers.
And Edward. Well, they're not brothers, but they're competing for that girl's love.
That's not the main storyline.
Well, I haven't read the books, but I watched the movies, which I actually watched them only like recently. I didn't watch them when they came out and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is not too bad, but I wouldn't have paid to watch it. But I think because that was my sense of the plot. And then obviously at the end of the day, they all joined forces and happened. The Eclipse sort of series and stuff. That's a similar concept. They at some point they were vying for what's her name again? Bella's love, weren't they?
Yeah.
So maybe like the idea of like two boys fighting over a girl.
No. I mean,
and they're both got like different personalities. I'm assuming in Vampire Diaries there's one guy that's like sweet, nice guy, and the other one's like a bit more of a dick and more like confident or whatever. And it's probably the same in Twilight, maybe except a different species.
When it comes to romance, I actually don't care that much for the like love triangle tropes. Like if there
seems like a common thread. If you like
is,
those two.
it's just I think it's good conflict. Like it creates good conflict for a story. I don't mind consuming it, but I don't like it when it drags out too much and it becomes like the main storyline. Because what I really like in romance, in fictional romance, is fates. Like the idea of like that person's your soulmate. Like I really like that.
That's Twilight too. The whole idea about Jacob wanting to imprint or whatever the hell that meant on
the daughter.
Well, it was going to be Bella at some stage.
No?
Then he imprinted on her daughter.
I don't think you can choose who you imprint on.
That's what you talk about. Fated. Yeah, that's fated.
Yeah, but that's... Yes, but that's...
I'm just drawing like similarities between what you just saying.
I didn't care about Jacob imprinting on his daughter. That was like such an insignificant part of the story for me.
You just said like you like the idea of fated some love or fated
mates and stuff like that. Like the fact that they find each other, they belong together, they will always like come back to each other.
Yeah, soulmates. Yeah, that's all very quintessential. And
I love it when they add the enemies to lover trope. So they're fated or they're like meant to be together, but they like deny it at the start. Like that's my favorite type of trope. Anyways.
That's classic, like, even like tween movies, like the popular jock, would never end up with the nerdy girl, and then, they end up together at the end of the movie, dumps the cheerleader, and then that's also very like enemies to lovers, isn't it?
Technically, yes.
It's the same formula, just in a different setting.
Yes. Well, I mean, they work, so why not keep repurposing it?
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to point out that that is a very common storyline, and because you were like, oh, I don't know, Twilight and Vampire Diaries, there's something I like about these other stuff in this book I'm reading. I can't seem to like get the same, investment of emotions, but it got the same sort of principles in it.
I guess so.
Maybe it's just not a good book.
Maybe. I tried 3 so far, different series, and none of them have kind of like hit. One of them is just really bad writing, to be fair, so I just can't get through it. But going back to Batman, not enemies to lover, not romance.
Does he get married in the end? In any universe or?
Yes. So in DC universe and in Marvel and stuff like, there's like multiple universe and timelines and stuff like that. So I think Batman has a few relationships in different timelines.
That's the other thing I always find really quite challenging to understand with the sort of DC Marvel characters is like the universe, like there's obviously different universes and then they choose different paths, and so there's always like different storylines. And so, when they create movies or series, it can be like, oh, this is in a series where he didn't die, or he like had family or something like that. And it always becomes so convoluted because it's like there's never like one definitive ending or pathway. It's like a million sort of storylines because of this whole alternate universe sort of
concept.
Yeah,
it hurts my head if I think too much about it, so I just treat them as different storylines.
Like a character's
the reset,
like the whole like a character's like arc or whatever, and then I get like, and then I come across like, oh, this is what happens in this, point in their life if they made this decision and X, and I'm like, why is there so many like pathways of this person? I just want to know what their storyline is and what happens to them in the end and stuff. But yeah, sorry, it's just interrupting with your explanation of Batman and his many relationships in different universes.
I didn't really care about his relationship, to be fair. I liked most of the Robin storylines. There's one girl, Robin, as well. I'm trying to remember where she came from, and then she became Batgirl later. Speaking of Batgirl, I actually have a favorite Batgirl. I think it's been teased.
Is that Batboy?
No, there's Robin.
Okay. Why are they calling Robin not Batboy?
I don't know. Never thought about it.
It's funny is it Stan Lee who created all these characters? Or that's,
yeah.
Or was that Marvel?
No. Yes, I'm wrong. Sorry, Stan Lee wasn't. Who created Batman? Bob Kane and Bill Finger.
Okay, all right. Because you feel like there's like, all these characters, like they create so many variants of it. It's like Superman. And there's also Superwoman, and there's also Supergirl, isn't there?
Yes.
But there's no Superboy.
I don't know.
But anyway, my point is like there's like always they create so many like offshoots of main characters and stuff. And I'm surprised they like for some reason decided to call this character Robin and not just be sort of generic and be like, let's just call him Batboy.
Yeah.
Because you said the other person's is Catgirl. Catgirl. Batgirl, yeah.
She becomes Batgirl because she admires Batman. Like she just like Batman didn't make her Batgirl. She self-proclaimed. But my favorite Batgirl is Cassandra Cain, which they've actually introduced in Hollywood movies already. She's a character in Birds of Prey, the movie produced by Margot Robbie that spins off what's her name? Harley Quinn's girl group. She's in that as a character, but you don't know her as Batgirl in that. And I think she's appeared in another movie as well. But growing up, when I wanted to be a filmmaker, in my head, I was like, if I ever had the opportunity to produce a superhero movie and I got to choose which story, my story would be about the origin story of Cassandra Cain and how she became Batgirl, because it's like literally my favorite storyline. It's so good. So she basically grows up from birth to become an assassin. She's like, one of her parents is like the best assassin in that world, right? And then they don't really care for her as a child, like, so they just like train her from the start. They're like, if we can train this girl to be an assassin since she was little, she's going to grow up to be the best assassin. But it backfires on them, because what ends up happening is they prioritize her not to learn to like speak and stuff like that, but just to read people, so that she knew who her target was and like the best way to kind of kill them. And then when she did her first kill, what happens is she felt everything the guy felt before he died. And that was so overwhelming for her as an emotion. So then she ran away and essentially became an orphan. And then Bruce Wayne basically found her, adopted her, all this stuff happened. And then she idolized him and started becoming Batgirl as a result, because she wanted to then use her skills to do good because of how much empathy she had. Like, if you could flesh that out into the movie, I feel like it'd be so good. Like, I would watch that. That's something that I really wanted to do growing up. But I didn't want to be her, though, growing up. I really liked her story, but I didn't want to be her. The characters I really wanted to be were like Sakura from Card Captor, because I like the idea of having cards that I could activate but still live a normal life. Sailor Moon, I like the Sailor Scouts, because like, again, I could live a normal life, but then I could turn on to be a superhero as I needed. I think that's what I liked. I think I liked I think I liked normal life too much to ever forfeit it. So I kind of like the concept of like being able to like put on a secret mask and identity to like save the world and like have this like secret power to like be able to like protect the people you care about in the world. That was really attractive to me. And I also love the concept of having like a team. Like Sailor Moon, you had like all your girls. Card Captor, she also had kind of like allies that she would fight with. And she had like this little pet that always kind of helped her along. Yeah. What's his name? Hero or something like that. It was very cute. And it's also why I moved on from Batman and I was obsessed with Teen Titans, which is like the younger generation from Batman. So Robin's their leader, and then it has all these other characters under them as well. Like it has like Beast Boy, Starfire, Raven, and they're all supposed to be like younger superheroes that like work as a team. I was obsessed with them as well, because it's like a team that work together to be villains. Like I think that was really nice. I like the concept of like having your people that are really like dependable. Like that's really appealing, because I think that's something that translates into real life as well. I think as humans, you crave that as well. You want to find people that are dependable. And I think that's where that like whole feeling of loneliness comes from. Because you know how people say, oh, people can feel so lonely even if they're surrounded by people?
Yeah.
I think if I can assume I would say that comes from more the fact that you can be around people, but if those people aren't people you feel safe around, trust, or can rely on, then that's when you feel lonely because you don't have anyone.
I guess that's sort of a common issue for, well, I think that was a topic that was explored with Spider-Man, because he obviously was just himself, and he obviously couldn't share his identity and stuff. So I get the appeal of being in a group, like a superhero team. I think the concept makes sense, but I think because I'm too introverted, I would hate to have people and be on a team. So I'd be like, don't rely on me, don't expect anything from me. Because if once there's any of that stuff, created, then, and someone breaks it, then it just becomes more frustrating. Might as well just be on your own. That's why I always hated team assignments in university. Like, there's always that one person that's like completely unreliable, like doesn't show up or doesn't do their work. And then there's someone that has to like bring it all together. And that used to be me. So I've been sort of burnt from team assignments. So I would like to act on my own. That's why I like the idea of, for example, Light, Death Note. Like, he acted alone and he was happy doing it.
He was.
And then he only got people to help him when he was about to get caught. And he's like, all right, I need to like. But that also was his downfall. Like, the more people that he roped into it, then the more chance of his secret getting leaked. Because, once something spreads, it spreads like wildfire. Yeah.
Light is the least favorite. Like, people perceive him more as evil than they do good.
Well, that's up for debate, because that's probably that is the main thing that is explored in the series, that, if you are creating a safer world, but you are doing it through, eliminating bad people, is doing stuff for the greater good. Does it offset, and is it, better off? Although he sort of got, had sort of a bit of a god complex and started becoming a bit weird. I think he was fine at the start when he was just doing it, and he was still I still had human like connections, and he was still in reality. I think once he started like becoming all like,
I think he derailed because he kept to himself. I think that's where the danger is.
No, I think it's because probably that didn't help that he was doing it by himself, but I think it's because like the power got to his head, and he kept doing all those bloody like monologues to himself. So I guess you're right. That's sort of the disadvantage, because you don't have someone to like pull you back and sort of pick you up in your crap. Because that's actually, there was another series that was, I'm trying to think, I can't remember what it was called, but anyway, yes. But it's good while it lasted for him. But Al acted alone until he
had a whole team.
He would always. Oh, that's right. He did have Watari and
had people
and others and stuff
that motivated him. I think it's so.
But he liked to act alone too, because one was obviously to protect his identity as like the best detective in the world. But yeah. Anyway, well, I guess for me, if I was a superhero or Light, I would probably get caught. Sounds like it's better to be in a team than to be by yourself, because you'll probably derail and get caught, or you end up becoming superhero to supervillain, which actually has happened a lot, doesn't it? It's a common storyline where people with good intentions end up switching sides after some incident happens or something changes their philosophy and beliefs. Yeah.
I think it's such a good mirror of actual real life, because I think it's so important for people to find their people, to find a community, a village that they feel safe in and can rely on. Because I think having those people around you, one, keep you grounded, keep you accountable, and also puts a level of like motivation and care and empathy in you. Like, I think it's easy to forget all those things and be selfish and narcissistic when you don't have others around you. And I think that's an unhealthy thing to develop. I think people can want that because it's easier to only like think about yourself and rely on yourself.
Yeah.
But I think that leads to a lot of negative things.
Yeah, there's obviously like that's why people like when sometimes when people get punished in prison. I haven't been to prison, but they get put in solitary confinement because it kind of mentally destroys them as a mental punishment. And really, you're just by yourself in a space, but that is enough to sort of drive one crazy. But I also forgot to say, technically, Light is not by himself because he has that Shinigami, but that's not really a source of reality because he's a god of death. So,
and he's also not friends with him, right? Like beyond giving him apples, it's not like they form.
This is someone he talks to, bounce ideas off, but he's kind of just like there.
Yeah, he doesn't really form a relationship. Whereas like, what's the girl's name?
Misa.
Like her Shinigami, like they formed a relationship, and then he like
because Rem was in love with Misa, so Rem was taking care of Misa in a way in looking over. Whereas, what's Light Shinigami called again? I can't remember.
I always forget as well. Rem, no.
The Rem is I just said that the female is Rem. Oh.
Let me put it to Google. Ryuk,
yeah.
Ryuk.
Yeah, he's just more of a comedic relief because he never offers any advice to Light, whereas Rem actually does provide advice to Misa. He's just kind of like there for the entertainment. But just speaking like when you were talking about like sort of the backstory and origin of Batgirl and how you would like to see that as sort of a movie. I would love to see that equivalent for like Tom Riddle, Lord Voldemort in like Harry Potter. I think that would be such a cool.
Is that written? Because I know
I don't think it's written. I mean, it's written within the books when they go back in time and sort of explores history a little bit. But I would love to sort of watch a whole series about like, from when he was a kid to how it became. It's almost like a prequel essentially on like how he became to be Lord Voldemort, how he made his Horcruxes. I think that would be such a interesting and series sort of to follow.
Although J.K. Rowling is cancelled at the moment, so
well, it hasn't really stopped Warner Brothers from announcing the TV series they're doing for Harry Potter because they're redoing all the books again. They're just in the casting and pre-production stage.
I wonder if it's going to get far because, like, if they're producing productions with like mass, because it's like academia, right? Like, there's a bunch of students. They're going to want diversity in that. But given JK's Rowling stance on everything like that, like, she's obviously going to say no to a lot of things, and I wonder how much that's going to hit.
It depends. I don't know what deal she made. I know when she did the deal for the movies, it was really I think the condition was around using British actors and actresses, obviously to promote UK sort of talent. I don't know what they're doing with this series, which I think is being sort of made by like a USA company. But I saw some of the like casting, and it's already diverse in a way. Like, I think Professor Snape has been cast as someone that's of like African American background. So they're already sort of changing it up a little bit with the main characters. So that's good to see. But that's going to be wild till it gets released. And then even when it gets released, it's going to be like so long before this TV series finishes. Because I think the whole point of the TV series is to be a bit more true to the book. Because obviously movies have their limits and time, and so things are skipped or
I don't know.
retold.
One, it's a bit annoying that they're doing that. Like, I understand Harry Potter is such a successful franchise that they just try to do the most with it and stuff like that. But like,
But they do that with everything. Like, they've redone
know.
Spider-Man like so many times with different actors. Like Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man with Tom Holland, and Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. And that was like done within like within a decade, I reckon. Like, at least sort of Harry Potter, it's like the first movie was released, over 20-ish years ago.
I know.
But it's going to take so long, but I'm hoping like I'm still alive when like the final season comes out of, the conclusion of it. Because it's like, it took the first movie was released, I think, when was it? Maybe like early 2000, and the last one came out in late 2000s, and I can't remember. Was it 2000? I think it was like within a span of over a decade it took for the movies to be produced. So a TV series will take even sort of longer. It's the same with One Piece, like because they're doing that live action thing. Like, how long will it take for the live action to be complete?
Yeah. Well, this is the problem with doing in real life things. Humans age and it will show. So they're only going to be able to hit a certain point. I mean, in the anime, One Piece does go through a time skip where they do appear older and stuff like that. But that only happens like once.
Well, you can always recast. Like, I know in a lot of soap operas have gone, like, some of them are like been on like, like The Bold and the Beautiful and The Young and Restless. They've been like on for like 40 years, and they just change the actor or actress. So just, next season, like a completely different person comes in and everyone just accepts it. So they could technically do that, They
also switch out the characters though. Like, the storyline just completely changes. It's the only thing that tends to stay the same is like the world.
Maybe
the street.
They'll just have enough footage of the actor and then they'll use AI to just be like, all right, you're too old now. We're going to pay you, but just to use your sort of physical resemblance and get AI to do all the job, like all the work for you. Although
maybe they won't get that far, because I think the first season already covered each story arc in One Piece is a lot of episodes, and then they finish that in like 8 episodes. So maybe it actually won't take that long. I don't know how many arcs there are in One Piece.
Yeah, they did the same with Avatar: Last Airbender, which I thought was okay, but it definitely felt rushed.
Wait, are they finished?
They finished. They did the first season, which is the first book, which was
Is it a book?
Sorry, anime series. I'm sure they've done a book series since on it, but because they've obviously done a live action version of the first season, which covers the first season of the anime, and that was done really quick. Like, I remember watching it and just like, obviously because I've watched the series, I know sort of how it all sort of happens and stuff. So I think if you kind of watched it, there's a little bit of like gaps in the, when you kind of watch it, you're like, huh, how did they get from here to here? Or how did he, anyway. Anyway. So that's sort of a kind of the flip side, like you said, like if they're doing a TV series in 8 episodes, but they're covering 3, was it arcs or seasons? What do you call them?
I said a story arc. I said there's a lot of episodes. Like, let me look up One Piece.
But anyway, it just feels like it's still rushed. But the whole point of a TV series is that because you can do as many episodes as you want, why not just try to remain true? I guess there's going to have to be some, skipping of stuff, but try to at least remain true to the essence of the original series, whether it was a book or an animated, TV show, whatever. And Anyway. But, I'm just a person that watches it, so it's easy for me to just make these sort of remarks because I'm not the one doing the work.
So East Blue Saga for One Piece, which is basically most of season 1, is 100 chapters and approximately 61 anime episodes. And they finished it in like a couple of episodes in.
But you watched it and did it feel rushed?
It had things that they left out, but it still worked to move the plot around. I think they did a really good job. I actually think it would have been too much for them to try to do it scene for scene to match the manga and anime. I think it...
But could you, like, for example, do you think they could have added a couple more extra episodes and done 20 episodes to cover the 60 episode series? And it would have been better.
I think the creative choices they made for the in real life adaptation were good.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I think the same could be said for The Last Airbender.
I have a feeling other people would disagree with me, but I think because I've studied media before, I can respect that. I think sometimes as a fan of something, you let yourself get jaded. It's like the classic, if you read the book and then you watch the movie, oh, the book's so much better, blah, 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 right? But it's a different medium. And I think if you do scripts for script, take a novel and translate it exactly like that for film, it actually won't work.
Yeah.
It'd be a bad film.
I'm sure that someone's done that.
And it's probably
turned out crap, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I think there was that whole sort of controversy with the Justice League and that movie. Because there was two versions. There was the original version that was released. And then there was another version that was done, but then was not released. But then because of all the fans wanted to see it, and that was apparently a 4 or 5 hour version. Like
a director's cut.
Director's cut, but it was a different director. So what happened was the original director, he had to, I think because his child died when he was directing the film, he had to he just had to obviously just not stop doing the film. And then another director took on, but it was at the point where it was everything had pretty much been filmed. So it was cutting it up together. And then obviously different directors have different takes on how they think stuff should be done. And so I think the film that ended up getting released, a lot of fans didn't really enjoy and was kind of not really critically acclaimed or liked, and so they demanded the release of the original uncut version that was done by the original director, and that was this 4 or 5 hour sort of version.
That must have been what ruined the DC universe, because I do feel in Hollywood film, the Marvel universe has thrived and the DC universe has really been hit and miss.
Well, it's funny enough though, because the person that they got to take over was predominantly doing Marvel. Yeah. And then it was that Josh Whedon guy. You know Josh Whedon? He did the Avengers and stuff. Yeah. I think he had a much more he tried to make it a bit more comical, whereas the other director had a bit more of a dark,
DC's darker, in my opinion,
sort of tone. Again, I'm not a fan, so I'm describing this incorrectly. I'm just reading this off probably what I was looking at from Wikipedia and whatever. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, the flagship hero in the DC universe is Batman.
Yeah.
Dark, broody, moody. The flagship superhero in the Marvel universe, Superman.
What is Superman Marvel?
Wait, is he not?
I thought it was DC.
Superman is Marvel or DC? You might be right. Oh no, you are right. Superman is DC.
So there was
this whole time, I thought
he looks Marvel because he looks like your
Who's
quintessential superhero.
So who's Marvel's flagship characters?
Spider-Man, Iron Man.
Oh my god, I googled it and so many people thought Superman was part of the Marvel universe. Spider-Man.
Yeah. Because that's just the one that's the most popularized.
Superman does really give off Marvel energy.
Yeah, because I think, again, reading things off the internet, who knows it's true. I think like there's a period where Marvel were like they just weren't like profitable and they weren't, I think they were on the brink of like bankruptcy or whatever. And so they sold the rights of Spider-Man to I can't remember who did the movie, which company bought it, like which film studio. It wasn't Warner Brothers, it was someone else. Might have been Fox, I don't know. Anyway. But they only bought Superman. No, I'm getting confused. They only bought Spider-Man, and apparently, like it was like 17 million to buy the rights for Spider-Man, and they could have spent another I think it was 25 million to buy all the rights for all the characters. So they could have bought all the characters and made all these movies, but they only bought Spider-Man. That's why because that's why Spider-Man didn't appear in certain Marvel movies because it was owned by different studios at that point.
It must have been because it was such a big deal that he appeared later.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, he's finally appeared because now I know the rights had ended, so then he couldn't make that. Because it was always strange that Spider-Man, quintessential Marvel superhero, wasn't in like the Avengers, wasn't in these other films like where there was a team. You think he would be a core member of any Marvel team?
Yes, exactly. I'm still thrown that Superman's part of DC.
Superman was probably one of the earliest superhero movies.
Yeah.
That was popularized.
Maybe I just associated red. Spider-Man's red.
And blue. Yeah. Well, maybe it is a common color. I mean, Captain America has the same colors.
All right. Let's end things on me being wrong and go into our dessert, which is an intentional moment that we like to take to appreciate the sweet moments in our lives. So essentially practicing gratitude.
You know what I'm really grateful for? Was went to the supermarket yesterday, and I remember like a time growing up where like supermarkets didn't do like roast chicken ready to buy. So I'm actually really grateful that they have that now. And it's, if you get lucky during the evening and then they slash the prices, you could be buying like a whole roast chicken for like $6 or even less. And they do other stuff like roast pork and roast corned beef. So yeah, I actually was thinking about what I saw. I was like, oh, there was actually a time when they didn't have this, and it was later in life, or in my life, that they actually introduced it. And I'm like, it's convenient, because back then, if you wanted like roast chicken, you had to like go to like a roast chicken shop, which I still do go to, but it's just sometimes it's so nice that it's so accessible now, because like roasting stuff is a pain and super messy and very smelly. So grateful for the accessibility of. I haven't actually had the roast pork before, so if anyone's had it, like, let me know if it's good. But had the roast chicken, and I've had like the one which is like the stand one, and there's like a more expensive one which is like only like $2 more, but it's like the organic one or something, or the different flavored one. I couldn't really tell the difference, to be honest.
Mm.
But I've had the roast corned beef, which I actually quite like. It's a really good one. It's like a bit expensive. I wouldn't buy it full price, but if you do get it, it's like a good one to like cut up and then like just put in like sandwiches, because it's like quite tasty. Yeah, grateful for roast meats being more accessible these days, because there was a time in my life where it wasn't, in our lives actually.
Yes. That's a good one. I'm grateful for glasses. the fact that they exist. I just so I'm watching Doctor Stone at the moment, which is an anime where it's like set what's apocalypse post-apocalypse?
Yeah, post-apocalyptic world, yeah.
Billion years later, he wakes up, so he has to start from scratch. He has all the knowledge of the past, but the new people that have grown up now, like, don't have things. And, like, for example, there was this episode where this guy, he's a really skilled fighter, but he keeps missing. And then Dr. Stone basically realizes that his eyesight's not good, and then he makes glasses for him and it fixes it. It makes me think about, like, how easy it is today for us if we are visually impaired and it's solvable. Like, there's so many options for us. You can get glasses within 2 weeks. You can get contact lenses. You can get laser eye surgery. Like, there's all these options to ensure that you have better eyesight so you can read and do things. And I think, like, we take for granted how easy that is.
Yeah. I think it's we're kind of reaping the benefits of someone, in a prior lifetime having discovered all this and then perfected the technology. And obviously, like, hopefully, our generation discovers other things and the next generation gets to benefit from it.
I agree.
And we all get to leave the world in a better state than we came into it.
Yes. And then lastly, let's go into our meal prep. So meal preps are goals we want to set or have set, or things we're looking forward to in the future. Basically just to say out loud, to acknowledge or make ourselves more accountable.
I kind of want to try more new places to eat. I think in previous podcasts I've mentioned how I'm kind of, like, pretty boring when it comes to food. Like, if I find something I like, I can happily eat the same thing for quite a while. So I would like to try, some more new restaurants and new cuisines, and try to venture out of, eating, Nando's all the time, or, grilled or whatever. Like, yes, it's great to be content in, your core sort of stuff you like to eat, but yeah, I want to be more experimental because, life's short, and, maybe I'll discover something that I can rotate into my usual, place to go out and eat. Because, like, for example, I don't know whether this is a great example, but, like, I never used to eat Spam or corned beef in a can, and then you introduced that to me, and now I love it. It's like my favorite thing to eat.
Yeah. My goal is to stretch more because I, like, strained my muscle the other day from just moving wrong, and I feel like that's avoidable if I stretch. So I'm going to try to stretch more moving forward.
That's good. I had the same thing. I think, like, you just, like, pick up something in the slightly, like slight awkward angle, and then, like, you feel it and stuff. I think that's just a thing about, it's a thing, like, that comes with age. Because sometimes I remember when I was a kid, and I'd be, like, literally, like, on the monkey bars, like, just swinging like a monkey. I was and now I'm like, I could barely do that. Like, it's like I probably wouldn't be able to do it at all, or I will feel the pain. But, it's like crazy how flexible you are when you're younger. And how much you just, even, like, having a big night out and drinking, like, you literally could wake up the next day and go to work. I mean, you might feel crap, but you actually get up and get to work. Like, if I have, like, a big boozy night, I'm not getting out of bed for, like, at least the next 2 days. And then the whole rest of the week is, like, complete, like, crap, where I'm just, like, completely, like, lethargic and get headaches and stuff. And this can be, like, even if I take, like, medicine and what's that?
Hydrolyte. and
Hydrolyte,
stuff.
that's it, that orange thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit something that just comes with age. So yeah,
Really
more
does.
more stretching to avoid
Straining yourself, hurting yourself.
More stretching equals less straining.
Yes. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. That brings us to the end. Thank you for listening, watching wherever you are in the world. We appreciate you and we thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you later. Bye.